So there's this guy on Twitter. His name is Cultured Warmist, but he goes by Warhawk. I've had some back and forth with him. He seems like a nice person, don't get me wrong. I disagree with him on war, obviously. I consider myself more of a non-interventionist, with some exceptions. However, and he is a nice person. He is a polite person, don't get me wrong. He does argue respectfully. However, I saw this poll recently. He recently held a poll. Iran regime change. Good idea? 14 people voted, which he has a following base of about 143, so about 10% of his audience voted. 29% said yes. 71% said no. So the overwhelming majority of a self-proclaimed Warhawks own audience do not support going to war with Iran. I don't know if that's a commentary on just how popular or how unpopular the idea of war hawkishness is getting after the failures of, oh god, let's go down the list, anything since World War II, really. Like, there was a really good bit at the beginning of Where to Invade Next. It was one of Michael Moore's films, where he is actively told by, he doesn't, not, generals don't actually tell him this, but he says, generals have told me we haven't won a war since the big one, WW2. And then, we just see some of the failures in every single war and intervention. We couldn't even get the oil we promised out of Iraq. That was a good movie, Where to Invade Next. But yeah, I recommend. But yeah, or if that's a more of a commentary on how unpopular regime change in Iran is, considering how it's not a terrorist country. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a bad country. I don't support the Ayatollah. I don't support the Iranian government. However, that doesn't mean you go there and do regime change. What that means is you blockade them. You use sanctions, which we were doing. Or, if we're not going to, we do something else. Like have the IAEA go in there to make sure they aren't building nukes. Which is what the Iran deal was. Iran has not attacked a country in over 200 years. And some will point to, oh, why? I've heard some people claim that they may be doing something with Israel, but I've seen very little proof of that. The most I've heard is basic huffing, where it's like, oh, we're coming for you. Maybe someday. I don't think I've ever, as far as I'm aware at least, and I could be wrong on this, please inform me if I am, I don't think Iran has ever held a direct attack against Israel. If they have, I never have heard of it. And I have my nose in politics, especially, not especially foreign policy, I do focus mostly on United States domestic policy. However, I still have it day in, day out. I would have heard of it by now, basically. If it happened within the past half a decade. That's about as long as I've had my nose in politics. Anyway, that's it. I'm Ephrom, and good night.